Hey, welcome everyone. Thank you for attending this joint webinar with Quality Matters and Cidi Labs um, and Florida Southwestern State College. Um, the Cidi Labs and Quality Matters have worked together for a number of years now, and Quality Matters uses Cidi Labs tools to help us design our own professional development courses that we have in Canvas. I'm Jim Snyder, the Director of Marketing and Engagement here at Quality Matters, and welcome to the webinar, Designing for Growth, a Continuous Improvement Journey with Design Plus. Next slide, a little bit about Quality Matters. It's a little just to get you started so you know at least what Quality Matters is about. We're a global organization for quality improvement in the online and digital teaching and learning environments. We started back in 2003 with faculty and institutions seeking to determine quality standards for online design. We bootstrapped starting back in 2003, and now we are a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and we have a community of over 90,000 individual members worldwide. We're centered around collaboration, collegiality, and continuous improvement and research. A little bit more about Quality Matters. You can see that we have about 1,300 members in all 50 states and over 30 countries. We have over 15,000 QM certified courses since 2003 and about 3,500 QM certified reviewers. We have membership options for individuals, for schools, institutions, publishers, and organizations and businesses. Next slide. A little bit about what we do. We elevate and scale quality in the online design and teaching space. We support our online instructors with results-focused professional development. And all of that really is to help all of you ensure the online learners receive a quality experience in their learning. And last slide for me is Quality Matters offers up our own rubrics. We do a lot of research. Our next Chloe report, Chloe 10 report, is coming out in the summer. And other resources that you can use to elevate and ensure quality for your online learners. So thank you for attending the webinar. I will now turn it over to Stephanie Tate at Cidi Labs.
Yeah, thank you. So we'll do quick introductions. So Laura Osgood is joining us here and is the Director of Learning Technologies in the Office of Information Technology at Florida FSW, we'll say for now, it's a mouthful. She leads a team of 6 instructional designers and serves as one of FSW's Quality Matters coordinators. She also teaches online courses as an adjunct for the FSW School of Education. Laura has 26 years of experience in K-12 and higher education. In K-12, she was an elementary teacher, a technology specialist, and an assistant principal. Since transitioning into higher education in 2018, she has also served FSW as a program assessment coordinator in the School of Education and the director of institutional research on Team Aspire. She earned her AA at UF, has a bachelor's in elementary education from USF, a master's in educational technology, and an educational specialist degree in educational leadership from Nova Southeastern University. Amazing. I am Stephanie Tate. I'm the product marketing manager here at Cidi Labs. I have experience in K-12 education as well. I was a high school English teacher for 12 years, and I worked also as an instructional designer in a community college district in California. And I have a real passion for blending research with practical application. My current role with Cidi Labs allows me to leverage my master's degree in ed policy, my decade, as I mentioned, teaching high school English, and that work as an instructional designer in higher ed to help educators really deliver quality learning experiences in Canvas. So it's a fun ride here working at Cidi Labs. And so I just want to say thank you, Jim. Thank you, QM, for having us. I'm here to share Florida Southwestern State College's amazing story, Designing for Growth, a continuous improvement journey with DesignPLUS. But if you don't know Cidi Labs, if this is your first time kind of hearing our name, or you're not totally familiar with what we do, let me tell you a little about us before we get into FSW's journey. So Cidi Labs was founded out of a partnership with Utah State University, where Kenneth Larson, our co-founder, was working as an instructional designer. He was given permission to sort of hack Canvas, and started making the first iteration of what would later become DesignPLUS. He was Over the years, our team at Cidi Labs has grown with educators and instructional designers, as well as former customers, including me, who are drawn to improving the learning experience for everyone. So we have 6 products total for Canvas, from accessibility to course lifecycle management. All of these tools have been developed in partnership with our customers or through partnerships with universities specifically. So today, what we'll be showing you is DesignPLUS, which is our must-have design suite of 3 tools that make creating content for Canvas accessible, affordable, and fun. So if you're curious about any of our products, do reach out for a demo so we can help you find the right tools for your needs. Now, a bit of housekeeping, again, before we kind of jump fully into this amazing story from FSW. We do want to say, please enter your questions that you have for today in Zoom's Q&A feature. This will allow our team here. I have 2 members from my team. I have Jen and Michelle who will be responding, and then Jim and Laura may be able to respond to some of those questions as well. So they'll be able to do that in the Q&A and ensure that your questions don't get lost in the chat flurry. A colleague of mine summed it up well in another session: questions in questions and answer, chat in chat. So we love to keep a lively chat, but we want to make sure we can respond to your questions. So feel free to use that for the chat space for connecting and reacting to FSW's fabulous story. So speaking of that fabulous story, not only is FSW's story a great story about using design and templates to align their courses to Quality Matters, it's also a story about continuous improvement. When investing time in creating course templates to align with QM standards, it's easy for the task to feel daunting. Perhaps you have a desire to get it right away. But FSM's story is one of success, and also one where both templates and services are evolving through open communication, empowering team members, and championing creativity. So with that, the goals for today are as follows. We hope that you will be able to identify practices that support a culture of continuous improvement for your institution. We hope you understand how DesignPLUS has impacted the consistency and quality of course templates at FSW. And we hope you can evaluate the changes over 3 years of course template designs for Quality Matters alignment. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Laura to officially set the stage for this amazing story about FSW's work.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, and welcome everyone. As Stephanie mentioned earlier, I oversee a team of 6 instructional designers at FSW, and we are housed in the IT department. So just to give you an idea of the scope of my instructional design team's work, they typically develop between 35 and 45 online courses per semester. They are considered departmental courses, which means there's a designated faculty developer, and those courses are shared amongst faculty, both full-time and adjunct. The full-time developers, the official developers of the course, are certified in our online course development certification course, which is called Dev 101. And we have 3 levels of service on our team, ranging from consultant to concierge, which I'll touch on a little bit later. All of our instructional designers on the team are QM certified peer reviewers, as well as a handful of faculty. We have about 10 faculty members that are certified peer reviewers that help us out with reviews. And we need the help because in the past 2 years, a little over 2 years, we have completed more than 150 internal reviews using the QM rubric. So those official internal reviews. We also have gotten 40 courses certified in Quality Matters over the past couple of years. So we continue to grow and compete with our fellow college system institutions, and right now we have the most out of any Florida college system institution. The work that we do closely aligns with our FSW strategic directions of creating a culture focused on continuous improvement and innovating classroom and distance education delivery methods to support optimal learning experiences. I'm sure some of our challenges and barriers are very similar to things that you all face, so it's not going to be anything new, but one of the main challenges we had with developing our online template is we wanted to make sure that it was consistent for the student experience. There was alignment with the QM rubric, and it was also easy for our faculty to use and edit, which I'll talk about a little bit more why we want to make it easy for them a little later on. For students, we have some barriers to online success that we've identified, such as motivation, time management, clarity of instructions, and mental health. So we try to address that in our template design as well. And just a little bit about our relationship with Quality Matters and Cidi Labs. We have a something called an online course quality assurance plan, which we affectionately refer to as OQAP, as in OQAP, there's a lot of quap out there. And we have implemented that for the past 2 years. And there's a 5-year review plan. So the first year we started out reviewing courses that were really, really old, that had been developed way back in like 2011 to 2014. Now we're caught up and we're only reviewing courses that are at that 5-year review mark. So that's great. The templates, as you'll see, have been modified over time. We tend to review them annually to make improvements. We have made improvements to closely match the QM rubric, which I'll get into. As I mentioned, we have the most QM certified courses now in the Florida college system at 40. And we are the first Florida institution, both from the state university system and the Florida college system, to achieve the QM program certifications for online teaching support and online program design. And about our relationship with Cidi Labs, we have some DesignPLUS experts in-house, which consist of our instructional designers and some faculty tech champions. And we also have a faculty toolkit that we've developed to help train faculty that may not be familiar yet with DesignPLUS.
Amazing. Thank you for setting that stage and kind of fleshing out what you do in those relationships. So can you tell us a little about what the journey has been like in these two partnerships, as you mentioned, with QM and with Cidi Labs?
Sure. So we have started the template before 2023, but in 2022, we really took a look at the template and made a revised version. We DesignPLUSified our existing template, and I'll show you some images, and we've kind of coined that phrase throughout our institution. We did practice aligning the language better than what our 2022 template had to closely match the QM language to make it easier for both our internal reviewers and external reviewers to identify those key components from the QM rubric that are included in our template or kind of baked in. We also incorporated faculty feedback. So we had them take a look at the existing template and let us know what they liked, what they didn't like, what they wanted to see in future iterations of the template. Then in 2024, when the new sidebar was released, we had kind of a mixed group of faculty and instructional designers, some that were really married to the old sidebar, and then some that wanted to transition right away to the new sidebar. So we had a new template created that was already using the new sidebar, so there wasn't any of that conversion necessary. And then we also, at the same time, reviewed the template for alignment with the QM 7th edition rubric. And now, this year, we are working on our next iteration, and we are incorporating some student feedback that was results of a survey that we put out about online course design. And we also are applying some new and exciting DesignPLUS features that our team learned during our watch parties and our design challenge that you'll hear about.
Okay, so I love this overview, but I think it would be helpful if we drill down a little bit. Let's go back in time to 2023. Can you tell us a little bit about those goals again, and in connection with that moment of seeing is believing? Like, if we can see some of these templates, I'm sure that would really help those who are in our audience.
Absolutely. So I think we're going to show you kind of a before and after here. So I'm all about color coding. So I have kind of our old version in the blue and our new version in the green. As you can see, the old version was very text heavy. We didn't have any DesignPLUS elements included in it. And then transitioning to our new template, we incorporated some theming, some very basic theming from DesignPLUS, including some branding for our FSW colors. And we'll get into on the next slide, I believe, some of the language that we transitioned to. So I talked a little bit about online course consistency. You can see on the left our old template from 2022, again, very text heavy. And some of the language may not have exactly matched up. We wanted to make sure we had that common language that was easily identifiable for reviewers to go in and identify, where is the learner support in this course? So our old page was called Student Information and Resources, just as an example. And we transitioned that to our new learner support page with very clear sections for, based on the QM standards. So this one particularly addresses General Standard 7. And we included things like content blocks with headings and icons. And also towards the bottom of the page, you'll see some accordions there for some of those, so we don't have that endless scrolling on the page of all of those lists and lists of policies that we need to include in our template for QM.
Great. I love the new look. I love the Design Plusified version here. And I can see, a few simple changes like that colorful banner title. On the last slide, there was that, little link grid. We've got the images and like you mentioned, those accordions, right, that break up that text heaviness and vertical scroll. But you mentioned you built all these templates with the legacy design tool sidebar, right? So what changed when you shifted to the new DesignPLUS sidebar in 2024?
So as I mentioned, we had some of our team that were really gung-ho about trying the new sidebar. And what was happening was they were going in and working on courses that were originally designed with the old sidebar. So they were having to convert all those pages and convert everything to content blocks and things like that. So they just thought for them, for their workflow, it would be much easier just to have a template that was already good to go with the new sidebar and being able to use some of those new features. So you can see here that I kind of highlighted what the new sidebar looks like. And eventually we did get our entire team to transition to the new sidebar. And now all of our new courses are being developed with the new sidebar. So that has been really made it an easy transition for both our instructional designers and our faculty. In this particular example I have here is where we are addressing specific review standard 5.3. So course communication and feedback. This is something that we did to align more closely to the 7th edition rubric for QM. So when we made that change, we looked really carefully at the rubric and the annotations to see where in our template we needed to make some changes to make sure that those courses that were being designed were meeting those standards from the get-go. And this is another example of a change that we made to our course alignment page, which is everybody probably affectionately knows as the course map, right? Just in a Canvas page. So on the left, we have our old course alignment page that was, sufficient for the 6th edition rubric, but in the 7th edition rubric of QM, there were some additional alignment standards identified. So we made sure to kind of highlight those in the table at the bottom with some additional headers in that section to clearly identify things like the technology and tools alignment, the instructional activities alignment, and things that we needed to have in place for the 7th edition rubric reviews.
Amazing. And again, some of those changes may feel kind of subtle, right? Those colored headings and the categorization down in that table you have at the bottom, or maybe some of those lead-in phrases, but the content is so much more usable with those updates, which we love. And before we jump in, I'm seeing a little bit of questions in chat. If you missed it or you weren't sure what we're talking about here, Laura is mentioning DesignPLUS, which is a tool from Cidi Labs, and I'm here representing Cidi Labs. Hello, and we will demo at the end of the session. And Cidi Labs has tools that plug into Canvas. So if you're using the Canvas LMS, then we have tools such as DesignPLUS, the one we're highlighting here. So again, you'll see more later towards the end of the demo, but I just love this story from Laura, so we're focusing there for now. Okay, so that was 2024. We're catching up to current times, but I want to know what ways are you looking to improve this template that already is looking great for 2025? What would you say is guiding you and your team?
I think the number one thing that we wanted to make sure that we addressed was what do the students think about the template and about the online course design? So we have kind of a 2-year rolling effectiveness plan goal to develop a student feedback survey, which we already did, distribute it, which we've already done, and analyze it, which we've already done now. So we have just targeted students that are enrolled in newly designed courses that are utilizing our brand new template, and got their feedback. And we didn't get a ton of written feedback, but some of the feedback that we got is definitely, we were looking for things that we could take immediate action on in our next iteration of the template. So this is a good example of a student comment. They just wanted to let us know that, they would like to see a list that reflects when an assignment is complete. To be able to look at the module list and have a clear understanding of what's done, what's not done, what do I still have left to do? So we immediately thought, well, hey, the DesignPLUS module progress indicators would be perfect for that. So that's something that we are implementing in our 2025 template so that students have a clear visual of what they've already completed inside of a module and what they still have left to do without even leaving a Canvas page or an assignment. They can see it right there on top.
Okay. So I love that you're using student feedback to inform your design moving forward. And we're talking about, seeing is believing. Can you maybe share a sneak peek? I know you're working actively on these 2025 templates, but I'm sure everyone would love to see the changes that you're implementing.
Absolutely. So this is just one example of something, and this was kind of more of how can we make this easier on the instructional designers part. So in the past, we've had to take, I showed you that course alignment and structure page. We would have to take those module level objectives and kind of copy and paste them from that page into every single module overview page. Well, then one of our instructional designers discovered the module list and was like, oh, this is a game changer. So we have decided in the 2025 template on each module overview page to just include the module list there. And then instead of having to copy and paste all of the MLOs on the module overview page, they're just linking to that kind of the home course structure and alignment page. And that makes it really easy for reviewers to see the alignment there. And as I mentioned, this is just a picture of what that module progress indicator looks like. Just one example, there's several different designs you can choose from. This is the one that we like the best. So it's right at the top of every page, assignment, quiz, anything that's a module item, so that the students can see kind of their progress throughout the module.
Pop in really quickly and say this here while we're staring at this example, but these elements are automatically updating. So particularly this module progress indicator, if you make a change to your module and add another item, but this module progress bar is already on all the items in that module, module progress bar right there will update and include that new item that you've added. And so it's a really nice way you don't have to go in and like manually update that wayfinding.
And another thing that we did, or we're doing as we speak for the next template is we are using some of the things that we have learned. And our team one day just decided, we had gotten an email from Cidi Labs about some new features that were out. And, everybody's kind of top barrier for being able to do, try new technology and new features is time, right? So we just decided one day, I said, hey, what do you guys think about doing a tutorial webinar watch party and all get together, set aside some time to learn some of these new features of DesignPLUS and then apply them to our new template. So this was just an example of some of the outcomes of our design challenge, which was also very organically. We were watching the tutorials together. We were literally pausing and trying and pausing and trying as we were watching these tutorials. And we are going to provide a link to the 3 tutorials later on that we decided to watch. In particular, we looked at content blocks and the background tool. And at the end, I was just like, hey, what do you guys think about doing a design challenge? And they're like, yeah, they were super excited. So at the next monthly meeting, our regular monthly meeting, They did a design showcase and everybody showed off what they had created using the information that they had learned in the tutorial. So it was a lot of fun, and we are still playing around and developing new things. We're probably going to have various iterations of each page that we have in our template for faculty to choose from. So that'll be nice as well, because it'll match the range of comfort level that our faculty have with DesignPLUS. We might have a very basic, homepage template, and then one that's more advanced using things like the background tool to make it easy for them to edit.
I love the way that you're championing that creativity and making space for it. And that's so, so fabulous. And it looks like you're getting real benefits out of that.
All right, so we talked about design plusifying, right? If you've used Design Plus, you know that sometimes if you go to edit a page and you're not familiar with Design Plus, it could be easy to break. So to account for faculty that are not Design Plus experts, we have to focus on, making it pretty, but keeping it simple enough so that when a faculty member who is not the primary faculty developer goes to edit any content and customize the course for, personalizing, maybe adding their own instructor information and things like that, that we make it simple enough that they can't easily break it, because you know who they'll be calling if they need to fix it. So we have to keep that in mind. And we also have to keep in mind our projects and our levels of service. So as I mentioned before, we have a consultant level of service, which is basically the faculty developer develops the course on their own and just has an instructional designer there to be there to answer questions or anything that might come up that they need help with. But it's not like the instructional designer is in there all the time working on the course. It's mostly the faculty developer. The collaborator level of service is literally 50-50. Everybody's doing the same amount of work and has the same level of expertise when it comes to design plusifying. And then our concierge level of service is where maybe the faculty developer either doesn't have time or doesn't have the technical skills to develop the course themselves. They heavily rely on the instructional designer to do the work for them. So in these courses, it's really important that we make it easy or easier for them to edit if they need to go in and change something. But those are kind of our various levels of service. This picture here is an example of something that one of our instructional designers shared. That in a current course she was developing and this was one of those consultant level projects. So the course that she was developing, the faculty developer had stuck in these images on a bunch of the pages, and they just weren't, in alignment. They were kind of covering the headers. So she brought that to our team's attention, and just thought we really need to think about how we're going to address this when it's a collaborator level. And so I said, well, maybe there's a basic training webinar or video that we could send to faculty developers of consultant level projects, and highly recommend that they watch it first, or better yet, we could include some Design Plus basic training in the next iteration of Dev 101. So that's kind of the direction that we're heading. We already have that online course development certification course that our faculty developers have to complete before they're allowed to develop an online course. So if we just bake some Design Plus training right into that course, it will give them a nice head start.
I love that. And I do think that it is so real that not each faculty member you're working with has the same interest or desire to even learn the tools, right? Nor just the skills when entering. So it sounds like you're handling that beautifully. I will talk about my demo a bit later when you're all hanging tight, some various ways that you can support all of your faculty, no matter their level of expertise. So thank you for giving some best practices around that already.
All right, and we are continually learning. So these are just some examples of things that our instructional designers have tried out in courses that they're developing. They, may not necessarily be part of our template, but we are building in our primary customizations course. We are starting the conversation about building more templates for faculty to be able to just import into their courses if they like something that they see in another course. So this is an example of a flip card, which is a new Design Plus feature. Again, one of those emails that just came out through our inboxes one day, and someone in Teams says, "Did you see the new flip card feature?" and had to try it out right away. So we're always sharing things like this with each other. So we have that kind of collaborative team spirit. This is another example of a newer DesignPLUS feature called the dialog box, where you can hover over a picture, click a picture, and it flips the card over. And it's a nice interactive feature.
Definitely. I love that you're showcasing some of these interactive elements. We actually just did an entire webinar on interactivity using DesignPLUS. And you'll get a link to our webinars later. So if that's something you're particularly interested in, you can go explore that some more. We have a really high priority on accessibility in our tools as well. So if your first question was, these interactive things are cool, but are they accessible? Absolutely. In fact, we just sent out a change to one of our tools that you're kind of highlighting here, one of our tools that helps with kind of pop-ups, because we found out that there's an even more accessible way to design it. And so in our most recent release, that was there. I just want to kind of mention that. All right, well, we've talked about DesignPLUS, and Laura has shared some amazing examples, not only of this journey of learning more about the tool and continuous improvement and alignment with QM, and how the tools and the design can even support that alignment to QM. So we love a story like that, where the tool is supporting your goals, and especially when it comes to best practices to support our learners. So thank you for sharing that story. It's my turn now to kind of take the wheel and show you a little bit more about DesignPLUS if you're unfamiliar. And if you are familiar, hopefully just to see some other ways that you can use the tools today. So I'm going to go ahead and hop over to a Canvas page here. I'll drop my course navigation down, but just so you can see familiarity, it looks like Canvas, right? And I'm going to go ahead and just edit this blank page and show you a little bit about how you can use DesignPLUS. So this would be sort of, hey, I have access to this sidebar. Some of you were talking about a keyboard shortcut. You may see a little rocket ship in the upper right corner if you license DesignPLUS. Or again, you can try those keyboard shortcuts, because some institutions have DesignPLUS behind that. Mine launched automatically for me because I'm always using it. And I'm going to, in fact, go ahead and toggle full screen. You can see all these canvas borders here. Just so we have a better viewing screen, we can, within DesignPLUS, have more room to design. So we use that toggle full screen button to do that. But how do you use DesignPLUS? At a basic level, you can use DesignPLUS to style content from scratch or your existing content, and that is just barely scratching the surface. But let's give you a quick rundown. Say I want to add a little bit of branding. Laura mentioned at the beginning, one of the first things they did when they DesignPLUSified, which I'm totally going to steal that from now on, was to kind of add some theming and some branding to just give a cohesive look to their courses. So I can just go ahead and select theme, and I'm going to get a theme dropped onto my page. I can choose a basic page that's going to give me this banner title, and I can build from there, or I can choose front page, and I'm going to automatically get a banner image and a link grid that's super helpful for navigation on a home page. And I can adjust all of these things. I can also, though, change the style of my theme. So if that particular theme wasn't my favorite, I can hover over these themes and change it out, or I can select around to see different themes. So really, really fun and easy there. I can edit any of these elements. Say I were to select this banner image and I wanted to change it out. When I'm working with this image, one of the cool things you can do with DesignPLUS from kind of a centralized standpoint is you can actually provide primary images. Those are your institution images. So if this banner image wasn't working for me, I can head over into the images that my institution provides for me. And maybe they've provided banner images of my campus, or maybe there's a set of images that represent my student population. And all of that kind of gives you this branding element, and it gives you this kind of connected look and feel. So I could just quickly select a different image, and it swaps out from those banner images pages. That alt text can come in with those banner images ready to go for you. Again, I can make changes to this link grid if I wanted to link to the most helpful resources. But I can also just continue to add content. You probably wouldn't have a homepage that just has 4 links on the front of it, although it looks nice to get started. But at any point, you can add additional content. We can add content blocks, whether that be you creating one from scratch. I added a content block. It came in with that theme. And if I were to say, welcome to the course, I can make the changes right in the sidebar here, adjust my heading levels if I need to for accessibility, and I can even select from icons. So if I wanted to, I like the open door icon, and now that's associated with this content block. So it makes styling really easy. I don't have to know how to code. I'm just kind of clicking around various elements. So you can see that you can really quickly add a lot of this cohesive, beautiful styling for your content. Let me pop out and show you a little bit more. Save that and jump forward for us all. We'll go to, this is like the baking show, you know, where you pull out the finished cake, like 40 minutes passed. So maybe it wouldn't be 40 minutes with DesignPLUS, but you get the idea. This is an example of maybe like a course design training. So Laura mentioned that baking in a little bit of DesignPLUS training to the online course training, right, is super helpful for faculty. You can also showcase best practices in those kinds of courses, which we love to do because faculty get excited, like, tell me how I can do that. And it encourages their learning if they've been a little bit reluctant, perhaps. But you can see here kind of a finished version of a home page with that link grid here. Again, that similar block, but with a different theme on it. Laura mentioned flip cards. And so I put a sample here just so you can see them. Maybe I've got my course objectives. You know, we're going to learn, reflect, I think that one's supposed to say apply, haha. And you can flip to the back to see the standards. And so I've set them up to flip, just a nice little interactive element, but it's also great to have that column structure. So lots and lots of cool stuff you can do with DesignPLUS. Maybe you can very easily add your welcome videos. You know, they're floated to the right here. It's not in the center of that heading, as Laura showed, that image plopped in the middle of the heading. Here we've got the video floated nicely there. We've got our accordions that can break up content or can even work as an interactive way to route your learners. So if they're new to Canvas, here's some resources for them that are customized to get them going. Again, this is a training course, but you could see how you could also do this in your student-facing courses to support your learners. You can turn all of these elements into templates of various sizes, whether it be, say, you provide an entire homepage like this to your users through DesignPLUS, or you can do little chunks of templates. So maybe you want to apply something like this design tip throughout your course. You can just go ahead and add that in because you can save any style that you build out as its own little template. We also have other interactive elements like these quick checks that provide ungraded assessment, reflection opportunities, so you can select answers and again be routed to resources or get feedback. We've got this module list that again pulls in your course modules and allows you to style them beautifully, all kinds of things. So I know I'm showing a lot, and maybe you're thinking, that's so great, Stephanie, designing from scratch, ha ha ha, but I have an entire institution's worth of content that needs to be DesignPLUSified now. And so what can we do with existing content? Same thing. So say this is kind of a classic existing content. So funny, we were talking about the rain this morning and saying it'll bring May flowers. We might need to wait one more week as it appears to be raining for everyone. But on this page, this is an existing page. It's got headings, a link, an image. Again, I can just pop into edit here. My sidebar is going to automatically launch and I can choose to, I keep selecting too many times. I can choose to add a theme to this page, just like I did before. It's going to pull in the last theme that I used, and it starts styling my headings that are already at a heading level 3. If I needed to adjust my heading levels, I could. I can change my link to a button if I wanted to very easily. I could say, hey, I want this to be, you know, a green button. I can take this image and say, oh, this image is taking up so much space very easily. I just come into my, I should update my alt text. This is decorative though, so I'll just mark that. And then I can come over very easily and say, oh, I want this image floated over to the right. So I get this much more streamlined view. So the point is you can build from scratch, as I was showing. You can style existing content, no problems there at all. So let's go ahead and jump to talking a little bit about templates though, because Laura was highlighting really the benefit of utilizing templates, because you can have your instructional designers or, you know, your centralized group create templates that are aligned to QM standards. That gives a huge start to your courses, right? So say you build out templates with DesignPLUS. You can do that alignment. You can be utilizing these tools for all of that. I want to highlight another feature that really supports your users in doing that last mile, which is actually adding the content, right? So the template is the beautiful shell. It gets them started, but they need to edit on their own. If I show you this template here, this is like a welcome letter, right? It creates that instructor presence really early on. You could send it as an announcement. You could create it as a page. When I edit this page, there are some secret editor only notes in here. So another feature that comes with DesignPLUS that helps with your templates are these key action items. This one is an editor-only checklist. It wasn't visible to you when I saved this page. It's only visible to editors. So if an instructor comes in and needs to complete some tasks for the template, they have the support they need here in the form of a checklist. This one is an input, so it'll allow them to type in words. You can even utilize just the notes that explain QM alignment. So it can say this page is designed to support, and you can list out all of the various elements of the QM rubric that utilizing this template will help them align with. So super exciting way to really not only motivate your instructors to complete the template because they recognize the value of it in relation to QM, but also to provide the actual support. So what does this look like in practice? Someone's editing this. They don't even need to have DesignPLUS open. Say they don't even know much about DesignPLUS. Down here in the lower right corner is this open action items feature where they can just open up the action items, read the action items here, literally check off if they've finished these elements, right? They can mark something as complete if they did it. They can type in the input. So here they're supposed to put their course name. Maybe this is English 101. And when they're ready, they can say update, and it goes and updates in the rich content editor. So they can clear out all these action items again without needing to know DesignPLUS or even opening the sidebar. Super helpful there. Let me go ahead and pop out of my full screen and go to the next element, which is just talking about, okay, that was cool. I like templates. How can we access templates and distribute these templates? So template access is really easy with DesignPLUS. You can, of course, build out, whole course templates, put them in Commons or blueprint them through Canvas if those are your typical needs. But you can also provide templates right where everyone is editing using the sidebar or our quick start wizard. So I'm going to start by talking about the sidebar just so our brain kind of gets used to that. Again, if I want to toggle full screen, in my getting started section, I can access template content right here. I don't have to go to Canvas Commons. I can just select template content, and I can choose from any of the templates provided by Cidi Labs or by my institution. So say, I'm looking for an assignment template. I'm working on an assignment. I've got these templates available to me. They're beautiful. They're pre-designed. Maybe I like this multi-step assignment. I just select, and that template is now right inside my rich content editor. If I had added, centrally as an instructional designer, perhaps, if I had added action items, those would come in right here as well. So they'd see those notes that I may have added or any of those little details that they need to complete or check off. But I mentioned we have various sizes of templates. So this is like a whole page template. The assignment is ready to go, including those accordions. So I didn't have to learn how to do fancy accordions. I can just see the heading there and the content there. But I can also add additional sizes of templates. Maybe I want a content block. I just want one piece. So if I select content block, I've added this blank content block down here, but I can actually choose a template from these smaller content blocks. So if I come down into my content blocks, I want my template to overwrite this existing one. And maybe I head into, see if it's in my instructional, where you can kind of just preview a lot of really cool templates, little chunks. It's not an entire page, it's just a little element I want to add. But I'm going to go into general and I'm going to add this assignment help. So maybe I have this block that's pre-designed for assignment help. And when I select it, I'll see that there's various assignment help elements that maybe my institution created to support my learners. Maybe it's aligned with QM standards in some way. And when I've done all of that, I can even preview, if I didn't want to have to save my page yet, my content. And I can get a sense for what my accordions are going to look like. And I can get a sense for what these assignment help content block that I added. Look, it's in tabs. So it's helping manage my learner's cognitive load. It's organized. And I just added that piece as extra. So I do want to say DesignPLUS doesn't just help with entire page templates. You can also do these little bits. And Laura was mentioning they're working on building out their primary customizations to be able to do more of that. A great 2025 goal as well. I'd probably spin into a later goal. But some of you are still out there thinking, but what if we don't want everyone to have to learn how to use the sidebar to access these templates? Again, you can certainly use Canvas Commons and Blueprint, the same information, but we also have an amazing tool called the DesignPLUS Quick Start Wizard. So anytime you're on blank content, so if this is a blank page, a blank discussion, a blank assignment, instead of opening the sidebar, that could even be hidden, I can select the DesignPLUS Quick Start Wizard and I have access to those same templates I was mentioning. I can access these whole page templates. So I can come down and say, maybe I want this home page. And then I also have access to the content blocks. So any blocks designed by Cidi Labs or by my institution, I can access and add to my pieces here. If I go into layout, maybe I'll choose this calming about section because I like it a little better than maybe the other about section. And I can even drag and drop the elements around inside this preview before I say, yeah, you know, that looks good. Let's add that to the editor. And just like that, I have my template here. So I didn't even have to open the sidebar to have access to that template. Okay, so I know I've shown a lot and we have a little bit of time left for questions. So I'd love to field some of those. Jim, Jen, Michelle, Laura, if anyone has questions to toss our way from the Q&A, feel free.
I've been answering questions that were directed to me. There is a question in here, would instructors have access to DesignPLUS if they create a new assignment? So if it's a page that's not existing in our template and they want to create a new assignment, would they have access to DesignPLUS? No.
Yeah.
Blank page.
Yeah. And so that's exactly this part that I just shown. There's a couple different ways, depending on how your institution sets up access. So yeah, maybe you have the whole template there. They could either duplicate an existing assignment, right? Certainly in Canvas as they typically would, but say they just added a brand new fresh template. They could use this DesignPLUS Quick Start Wizard to get access to those individual page templates or individual block templates to build, or could utilize the sidebar as usual. It's just a note that the Quick Start Wizard only shows up on brand new blank content. The sidebar will be on any content, including existing content. This is just a way if you have a totally blank canvas, that you can use the Quick Start Wizard to add the templates there.
And there have been a couple of questions about how institutions and Canvas admin go about creating these templates. And I just discovered this myself, so I'm happy to share. I was hired into this role after we had adopted DesignPLUS. So I wasn't privy to that kind of first adoption information where that primary customizations course was created. So I just discovered it and I'm super excited. And I actually have a project going with our Canvas LMS admin and one of our instructional designers where we're going to get in there and create some templates. And because we were all like, how do we, get those templates into our institution, that little institution icon, there's nothing there. So we are in the process of creating that. I just went the other day, it was super easy, and added all of our FSW branded colors to our primary customizations course, just like last Friday, I think. And immediately it's available in Canvas. When people go to edit a page, they have that custom FSW color palette to choose from when they click on the institution link. So we're super excited to see what we can do with that.
Yeah, and the power of customizations cannot be overstated, truly. There are primary customizations, as Laura's mentioning, and that would be for your entire institution, where you can provide templates or little items, like we mentioned, those banner images, right? That reflect your maybe your campus. You can add those content blocks that are specific for maybe even that like, hey, all our instructors love to use a video lecture template, but they just need a little bit to drop onto their existing template pages. They can use a content block for that to put onto their existing templates to have that styling added on. All the way down to tiny little things like you can brand an individual button, right? And like have that available inside the sidebar for your users. But that's primary customizations. You can also set up extended customizations, and that's for each of your sub-accounts. So for example, I was working in a community college district, and so there were multiple college campuses, each with their own branding colors. So if they were going to add a theme, they didn't want the district's colors, they wanted their college's colors. And so by setting up extended customizations, automatically their branding colors get applied. to anything they're building in DesignPLUS. Even if at the district level, we created the templates, right? They'll transform when they're in that extended customizations to that specific branding. And then you can provide resources specific to those institutions. And so that can be really helpful as well. You can do that with sub-accounts as well if you're maybe broken up by disciplines. So you could even have like a science extended customization scores. And then the last piece there is that you can have shared customizations. I know you're like, what? But that's for teams who want to work across various sub-accounts and build out their own stuff that's only available to that team. So you could think of this as maybe for that, like, that white glove level of service that Laura was mentioning, where the team of instructional designers need a set of items that they're going to provide that's really specific to that level of service. And they could do that across all the accounts with a shared customization source. Any other hot questions we're seeing in the Q&A or from the chat you want to address?
There was a question about the DesignPLUS wizard, and is it something that has to be enabled at the institution? I don't want to misspeak, but I believe, yes, you do have to enable it.
Yes. And I don't know, Michelle, if you have like more details about that, if you want to pop in.
It is something that's enabled at the institution level, and you have options within that to be able to choose if you want all of the DesignPLUS templates or if you just want to restrict them to templates that are going to work with your use case and be very simple for faculty members. So if you want to reach out to us at support@cidilabs.com, we can get you all of that information.
Yeah. And so what Michelle is kind of mentioning here, if you can see, and Laura mentioned it too, next to this structured assignment template in my sidebar, I have that little logo that mentions the institution. So this is a template that was built by the institution provided here. There are some that are provided by Cidi Labs, but you can choose to keep those enabled or, you know, turn those off if you don't want those visible. So you can have everything be, you know, super specific to your design. So that's all available to you. You get to decide what your users see. There questions that we saw, any more that were super common in the Q&A that anyone might be interested in?
Hey, Stephanie, there's been a number of questions about whether or not these tools integrate with other LMSs aside from Canvas. Can you talk to that real quickly?
Totally. So the our tools at Cidi Labs are built exclusively for Canvas. So I know some of you out there want, right? You're like, that's so cool, I want that. But we partner in this way with Canvas, and it allows us to design what we think are deeper solutions for this learning management system, really customized pieces, including like our accessibility tool can convert your inaccessible files like your PDFs to a Canvas page with a single selection. And it's things like that, because we work specifically with Canvas, right? It allows us to have these really highly specific, useful features. So yes, we work with Canvas and we have a variety of tools. So DesignPLUS is one, and I just mentioned accessibility, and we haven't talked about it yet, but for those of you who are, you know, really wanting to know about that, right inside DesignPLUS, it has its own accessibility and usability checker. So whenever you're adding that content in, you'll see little flags and things like that pop up here. But yeah, just for Canvas. Other questions we want to address live before we wrap up?
I know there's been a lot of questions or requests for training links in the chat. So we'll go through chat and make a list of those. And if you're a customer, we'll be sure to reach out. If you don't hear from us, then send us an email at support@cidilabs.com and we can work with you to get some information over.
Yeah, and if you have any requests for resources, do throw them in the Q&A. We will send an email to anyone, but we will include the links to any resources or questions you might have asked. So if you saw someone ask a question and you forgot to save that resource today, we will be sending you a follow-up email. So yes, thank you for that point, Michelle.
I did in the chat earlier, threw in the link to the just the general tutorials DesignPLUS page. because they're just really quick videos that you can, like I said, watch, pause, do, watch, pause, do. And those 3 of those are the ones that we watched in our tutorial watch party with our team.
Yeah, so if you have DesignPLUS, go check out those training videos. If you want to learn more about our tools, we have a webinars page. We've just launched our Accessibility Matters live webinar series. And so this is a set of webinars that you can come and hang out more with us at Cidi Labs and learn more about DesignPLUS, as well as our other tools and how they support you in a variety of ways. We do webinars inside this series, but all kinds of other ones, and you can explore any of our other webinars. I mentioned we just did one on interactivity, so you can find that on our website as well. So if you need to get access to that link, let me pop over to my slides. You can just go to cidilabs.com/webinars, or you can scan this QR code. We have an upcoming webinar on the 15th, Global Accessibility Awareness Day. We've partnered with Instructure for this webinar. So we're going to be talking about how, we know that it takes a village to really pull off accessible courses at scale. And so that's what that webinar will be all about: many hands, lighter work, scaling accessibility in Canvas. We'll have 3 institutions sharing their story about how they empowered their village and the various portions of the village, right, each member, to make accessibility progress achievable. And then we also have our first in-house Accessibility Matters Live webinar in June, and that's going to be about accessible courses by design. So all about how you can design from the start to support accessibility, which makes the effort a lot easier, a lot more sustainable, and a lot more effective. And so you can join us for that. You're going to see a lot more of our tools in action there as well. So with that, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Jim, for having us. Thank you, Laura, for sharing this amazing story. You all have been wonderful.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.